I enjoy reading to you guys. Here's a principle of planet formation. The first, the first planet formation paper I wrote in July 6, 2016. I realized it was very important. I noticed a big problem with astronomers and how they view the world. In addition to the fact that they have the very basics wrong. Here's one branch to the assumption and the reason why it's very ill-conceived on their part. In stellar metamorphosis, planets and exoplanets are evolved, and dead stars. A fundamental principle is stated along with the reasoning. The principle is a planet forms as it evolves. It's very simple. A planet forms as it evolves. This principle states quite clearly that a planet does not form and then evolve. The process of planet formation is its process of evolution. This releases the assumption of Earth forming as is and then remaining relatively unchanged when in fact the opposite is true. As the Earth was evolving from a much hotter, bigger, more energetic state, it was forming internally. This reasoning is easy to understand. I'm a 34-year-old man at the moment. How long did it take me to form? Well, a bit more than 34 years. I did not form in my present state after a set amount of time, closed off from now. For instance, did I form within 21 years? No, that will leave off 13 years of life experience and physical changes that come with age. Did all my formation occur while in my mother's womb? No, as that would leave off my growth from a baby to a grown man. The majority of the changes occurred inside of her womb, but my total formation to a 34-plus-year-old, in fact, took 34-plus years. It is the same with planets. Looking at a planet as an object that forms in 10 million years is similar to saying I formed in 9 months, or in 3 days, or 2 weeks, or 20 years, or what have you. I assure you I look much different than when I was 9 months old. And it means the base formation time for a planet cannot be anything other than its age. As well, there is no such thing as a base formation time for a planet compared to other planets, as they are all different ages. It is like this for humans, other types of animals, plants, fungi, etc. An object's age is exactly the amount of time it took for it to form to its current state, which is the whole meaning behind the concept of age. An object's age includes all processes: heat transfer, radioactive decay, isotope fractionation, loss of total angular momentum, etc. If Earth is 4.5 billion years old, then it took 4.5 billion years to form. If the Sun is 100 million years old, then it took 100 million years to form. If an oak tree is 280 years old, then it took 280 years to form. We can see the misguided mentality in the astronomers and geologists. They believe that Earth just formed in 10 million years. And I have this linked at the bottom and archived, of course, so if they try to get rid of it. And then stayed this way for hundreds of millions of years. It is very strange reasoning. They do not look at the objects in our solar system as highly evolved structures because of this mentality. Yet they are extremely evolved structures. Some much more evolved than others, some even dead. It is imperative to look at the objects in the galaxy as they truly are, without bias. And the bias that there are some sort of base formation time for individual objects has been shown to be false with simple reasoning. Their base formation time is their age itself. A planet's formation is its evolution. That being said, the reader can learn to look at articles in this new light. If an astronomer or science article says things like planet formation and evolution, then you know they still adopt a false worldview. A planet's formation is its evolution. It is the same process. A planet's age is the amount of time it took to evolve, form to that state. The mentality of the objects in our solar system, all being nearly 4.5 billion years old, will prevent understanding the galaxy and our place in the universe. For instance, Neptune and Uranus are 4.5 billion years old too, as well as Jupiter, Saturn, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars. Just looking at them should make you wonder, how could they all be the same age as the Earth? It is clear they are all different because they're all vastly different in ages. Just off the top of my head, some differences in ages in order from the Sun, including the Sun. And I put this in here. I didn't reference a lot of the stuff, but this is just off the top of my head. The Sun is 100 million years old. Of course, that's up to revision. Mercury is between 7 and 32.75 trillion years old with a T. Venus is 450 to 700 billion. I have Earth is 4.5 billion. Mars is 20 to 30 billion years old, so about 4 to 5 times older than the Earth. I have Saturn is 550 million. Jupiter is 700 million. Uranus is 1.2 billion. Neptune is 1.1 billion, and Pluto to be determined. Of course, Pluto would go along with all the moons. A lot of the moons are the core remains of hot Jupiters that were ripped apart really fast. Their line of evolution was really, really fast. And I'll get into that a little later. But I already have got into it many times before, just not in this talk. This is just the beginning. We just realized that they are all different ages. Unless this is understood, then the astronomers will not be able to make sense of the exoplanet data or of their place in the universe on the whole. Sure, I might have their ages wrong, but as far as I know, at least I give them some room. I do not try to force them to be similar ages when it is clear they are not. And this is the big step, people. It's a step away from dogma yet again. And the major dogma that everybody is aware of is the idea that the Earth was the center of the entire universe. And then it moved to Earth being not being the center, the Sun being the center of the entire universe. And then it went from the Sun not being the center to being in a not so special arm of the Milky Way galaxy, clearly not the center at all. And now we have the understanding that Earth is not only an extremely evolved star, but the next stage in that is to realize that all the objects in our solar system are all vastly different in age. And a lot of them are pre-Earth at some stage or another. Some much more highly evolved than others, as well as there are some objects in our solar system that are post-Earth. And you notice the qualifier, pre and post. That's very important to understand, to place a qualifier in there, because it makes time as an important variable. And with astronomers, they don't have time as the variable separating the objects in our solar system. What they do is they say things like sub-Neptune, or super-Earth, or hot Jupiter. The qualifier for their words never has anything to do with time. And you'll notice that. It's never a pre-super-Earth, or a post-super-Earth, or a pre-hot Jupiter, or a post-hot Jupiter. They don't have time as a variable inside of those models that they have. Because you can tell they don't have any qualifiers for them. They don't have the prefix set up in a way that opens up your mind to understand that we're dealing with objects that are vastly different in age. And when you look at them in this light, it makes immediate sense. Just looking at Mercury's surface, you can see how many asteroid impacts there were on its surface. An extreme amount. And then you look at Mars, not so much. It's because Mercury is in the trillions of years old, and Mars is between 20 and 30 billion. So we have at least 2 magnitudes of age difference. Naturally, when Mars gets to be Mercury's age, we should expect more craters to be on Mars. But Mercury is so fantastically old that it just defies the imaginations of the dogmatic astronomers. And that's what I want to get across to people, is that the astronomers, they have a worldview that they have to work inside of. And now we no longer need that worldview. We can understand that we're dealing with a very different universe than what they were trained to believe in school. And that's very important. All right, guys. Today is October 20th, 2019. This is an update to that 2016 paper. Of course, 3 years plus. I'm coming back to the old papers and I'm making more adjustments to them. It takes time to do this stuff. It takes time to form a plan. It takes time to build a theory. It takes time and energy and effort. It's not something that just comes overnight. And of course, you guys probably already know this. All right, later.